Alright, here's a video on my pin spotter with the sweep and table functions. First of all, I'd like to give a special shout out to Table Jam. I was having some problems with the respot cells, and talked to him about it, went over to his place, and we spent about 3 hours just going through everything about these machines. It was very helpful, and I probably couldn't have gotten this far this quick without him, so thank you very much, Table Jam. So let's start off with the control box I've been using. As you can tell, the pin spotter looked a little rough when it was running there. That's because it was being ran manually by this one box here. This controls the table and sweep functions. It's also got a brake, forward and reverse, and it does have a speed control as well. So let me turn on the sweep here for you and show you the speed control function. So it's running pretty quick right now. If I slow it down using this knob, you can tell it's kind of creeping. Also got the reverse function as well. So it's going to save me from having to crank the motors. Able to use this box with the speed control instead. And I got a couple of other switches here. This switch controls the spotting solenoid. And this little rocker switch right here, this controls the roller barrel assembly. Throw it one way, it drops it to 180-degree positions. Throw it the other way, it will roll back over to the home position to gather the pins. So I'm going to grab my light. I'll go through the front end here real quick. This thing is basically just like the front end of a real 8270. Or 90. It's got the motor, exception of a gearbox that has a chain drive instead. You got the spot and respot levers. And then there you see the cams. The cams are actually separate cams for the spotting and respot. They're not together like the 70 or the 90s. Then you got the spotting solenoid, table drive assembly, and then of course the sweep motor. And then you've got the wire way that everything is plugged into. Eventually this thing will be wired up to a solid state chassis. And plenty of room for the terminals. Look down here, I'm using the gold box, mechanics box. Right now it somewhat works. I've got the switches working to control the pit if you need to. And this controls the power to the control box right now. But eventually it will control the sweep and table motors. There's the tie rod assembly. You can see I'm going to get a quick view of that running here. It's a little tough to get in there, but get the idea how it works. Alright, let me see if I can get to set some pins here. Show you the roller barrel assembly. Show you how it loads. Can get in there. Activate the spotting solenoid and run the table. Oops. Yeah, that happens once in a while. One thing I do have here that the 70s and 90s don't have, I actually have a expanding respot rod here. The problem I was running into is when the table was going down to spotting height, it was pulling the pawl too far back. So this thing actually stretches. I get to stretch right now. There he goes. It actually stretches to allow the table to go to spotting height without causing any problems with the paw. A couple other things I wanted to mention here with my pin deck lights here. They're actually red, blue, green 50-50 strips. There's actually 3 strips glued onto a steel bar. Let me turn them off real quick. See if I get in there. There's my 3 strips. Are actually stuck back there with a piece of double-sided tape, and then they're stuck to a piece of steel. I couldn't directly stick the lights to the steel because the backs on them, they are conductive and it could short them out. So the double-sided tape adds an insulator to them. And the other thing, of course, is my new sweep arms. I was using flat bar before, but now I'm using this is 3/4 inch and 1/2 inch steel tubing. It's a little bit smoother. Yeah, it looks a little more realistic. Since I had to redo my arms, I actually did a tutorial or a how-to video on the sweep arm, so be looking forward to that in a few weeks. Here's a view of my table without the yoke assembly attached. There's been a few design changes to it. First of all, if you have seen my original video on this, I had the respot links. They're actually on the opposite sides of the table here. Well, I had to move those around because the yoke assembly was in the way of that, and it was causing a kind of a mess. And another change that I made was with the link bodies. Zoom in on that. Originally they were solid bars, but now you see I got little link bodies there. These are actually rod ends off of RC cars. So those worked out quite well for me. Other than that, no other changes with that. Let's go and take a look at the tie rod assembly here. Basically designed off the 8290 table. You have the paw here and basically just and down. And same thing with the other side. You have the shifter cam here. Shifter cam pushes up on the shifter link during spotting to open the cells. Not cooperating the second in time. So. And then I switched out some of the flat bars for rod ends, adjustable rod ends, so I can make more adjustments to the table. So that's the respot cells. Here's a view of my table with the yoke and spotting cups in place. Had to make a few changes here as well. With my spotting cups, had to remove some area off each side of the cups so I could fit the tie rod assembly there on top. It just wouldn't work on the bottom. And then as far as the spring, which pulls the cups to the back position, holds them in the back, I actually put it right there. It's not on the shaft itself. So during spotting action, it pulls forward, and this spring will bring it back. So in that, it's a nice little combination of a 70s and 90s design. Has a spring, the front foot there, like the 70s. And of course the table is more like a 90s design. The difference is this table is aluminum, where the 90s table is actually a steel table. And that's the table assembled.